Mark Levin, the Fox News host, had a meltdown over Trump's federal indictment for his mishandling classified documents, and the obstruction and the lying to authorities and on and on. A meltdown of, historic measure, okay? Pretty bunker stuff here. And I don't really have to introduce this too much. We've talked plenty about the indictment itself, about why it's not some witch hunt, tons of evidence being brought forward. Trump should be held accountable for this. Mark Levin does not feel the same, and he does his best, most performative, outrage explosion. Take a look.
They're throwing all these process crimes and all these crimes that grow out of the criminal investigation against Trump. What did he do with the documents? Did he sell them to the enemy? No. That's why we have an Espionage Act, not to trick up a president. What did he do? Did he burn them all? No. The government has all the documents back. So there is no violation of the Presidential Records Act at this point.
They have them because they forcibly took them back. Because they raided his home. Yeah, you found a bunch of illegal drugs at my house after you raided it, but you have them now. What's the problem?
To the Presidential Records Act at this point. But they throw the book at him. They go after his attorneys. They make them testify. They're attorneys under the crime fraud exception to attorney-client privilege. That means he didn't have due process. His own lawyers were being subjected.
He does have due process. He's going to have a whole trial and everything.
To interrogations. And they had...
He's still innocent until proven guilty. Of course. I just happen to... My opinion is he guilty, but in the eyes of the law, he's still innocent.
And they had hundreds of in-person people testifying in front of grand juries. Thousands of collections of documents. For what? For what? And they indict him today? They indict him today in Miami? All of a sudden it's in Miami? All of a sudden we have a Florida grand jury? Because the moron in Washington figured out that there are venue issues that could lose him his case. This guy, this...
My goodness. Isn't that good for Trump? Wouldn't you want it to be in Florida? Maybe you'll have a more friendly jury? Huh. And the crimes were mostly committed, I think, in Florida, but also Bedminster, New Jersey, his Bedminster club. Yeah, so that's pretty wacky. It's funny sometimes. So Mark Levin is doing what Tucker Carlson does, but different. The way that Mark Levin is just saying things, just outlining, for the most part, just the facts as they are in an outraged tone, and then following it up with an outraged question. Tucker Carlson will just ask questions about things that are in a tone of voice that's supposed to make you think it's suspicious. So why is it? The clouds, they just seem to move across the blue sky. Is this a deep state conspiracy to make the clouds move? Like, just random. Him right there. You heard him going, and what? They're indicting him today? They're indicting him today in Florida? They're indicting him in Florida? Do you have a point there? Is this attached to an argument that you have about why that's bad? What is it? Is it Friday? Today's Friday? June 9th? This is Friday? How dare they on a Friday? Or on a Thursday, I guess it was, that he was actually indicted. Strange. And then I have a second moment here for you.
This attorney general who pretends he's Helen Keller, he made the decision to indict the former president, and they made the decision to interfere in this election. You want to talk about an insurrection? This is an insurrection. And that's exactly what's going on here. Let me go on. Joe Biden is the crookedest crook that's ever been in the Oval Office.
There's one problem with that. When I say I think Trump is guilty here, even though, again, under the law, he is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, he'll have his day in court. I say that. I don't think I really say Trump's a crook, but sure, Trump's a crook. The reason I would say that is because of the mountain of evidence as being put forward by Jack Smith's investigation and the unsealed indictment that you're not even going to contend with. A lot of these individuals won't ever walk through and go, oh, this bit of evidence and the way that it clearly violates a law on the books is not real. They won't do that. It'll just be, it's all a witch hunt. They'll never actually interact with the facts of the case because the facts of the case are clear. There's no political bias here. It's just a clear, irresponsible action by a former president, and then obstructing and conspiring with others to try to prevent federal authorities from getting this sensitive material. It's just facts laid out on the table. Not much interpretation necessary. And that is why I think Mark Levin's so unhappy. And I will say, a message to right-wingers on this. You can still be someone who used to or still supports Trump. You can still be a right-winger and not just knee-jerk be dishonest about this. At some point, you can, just like how I've explained a lot recently that I think Biden has done a lot of good things as president. I'm kind of annoyed that people aren't giving him much credit for some of the accomplishments. If Biden was found to be really corrupt, I would feel perfectly comfortable and obligated saying, I mean, all of my previous coverage of different events stands, but today I need to say, this guy's corrupt. I would be perfectly again, not just willing, but obligated to do that. You should feel the same, even though you loved him for a long time and maybe you have a lot of MAGA merch and you feel like this would be a violation of your identity. It's okay to change sometimes. We're not going to blame you. We're going to actually think it's principled of you to go, listen, I still hate Biden. I still hate the libs and all that. But also Trump shouldn't have done this and he should be held accountable. And I actually believe in law and order. And I actually believe no one's above the law. You can do that. And I wish that you would. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.